Hey, what's going on YouTube, fellow subscribers? I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Today is the day that the engine comes out of the Legacy behind me. So if you've been following and staying tuned and ready to find out what exactly is going in there and what is under there, then this is the episode for you. Stay tuned. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just basically run you guys right up to speed for now and give you guys an idea of what was entailed in this engine. Now, I've already given you guys a little bit of spoiler alert in the recent video to let you guys know that this is the next project. And now it's time. Finally, I have the opportune time to actually work on this and get it ready. And it's pretty much ready to go. Basically, I just got to put some hardware on it, put a chain on it, and bring the cherry picker over here, slide it out. It's literally just sitting on the actual subframe itself. So, with that said, let's get up to speed.
Back on
Alright, I got it done. Got it out. 255 sitting on the floor. I've got it on a wheel caster. Wheel caster is basically a caster plate that you put underneath your tires here. You put them on all four. You're able to move the car all around. So that's basically what I've got this on right here. It's a lot easier for me to be able to roll this around. Yeah, you know, basically as easy as that. I can just kind of, boom, pretty easy. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start degreasing the engine bay, go through, start cleaning everything up, and getting it ready for my hands to get in there so that I can start working on the ej20x over here. Alright, so today is the day. You get to see it. Go ahead and unwrap it. Let me get all this plastic off. Just bear with me. Boom. It's very clean. Let me turn a little light on for you guys. There we go. I've gone through it and everything seems to be in order. I'm very happy with the hardware and whatnot. It's in really good condition. So other than that, I seem to be pretty pleased with it, other than the fact that I haven't put it in the car yet. But twin scroll, that's right, we're going to put that in there also as well. So that should be pretty nice. We're going to go ahead and remove the intake manifold up on top, along with the harness, you know, plugging into all of the sensors and spark plugs. And then we're going to use the USDM. Now, when I say USDM, I mean the actual OEM intake manifold and OEM harness. It will mate on top of it and bolt right back in place. That's why everybody calls these Lego cars. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and put a very low mileage engine inside of the Legacy. And bada bing, bada boom, this should be pretty sweet. Get rid of that. That's toast. The oil that came out of that thing was just... So it's either going to need a major overhaul, which is obviously going to have to go see a machinist of some sort, you know, because there ain't no way you're going to fix that by hand. So, yeah, with that said, on to the next project. Alright, so now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and focus on cleaning this engine bay up for the sheer fact that it's gross. And I don't want to work around it. You know, just assembling this, putting these bell housing bolts alone, and touching all of this grease is really honestly just going to piss me off. So my OCD will kick in and I will basically lose it, because I feel like you should have a clean engine bay. Clean engine bay is a happy engine. So with that said, it's kind of hard to see a lot of it in here, but there is a lot of crud in here as far as like dust and dirt and grime and oil and leaves and particles of just crap that I don't even know what it is. So with that said, it's time to scrub this engine bay, I guess, right? Alrighty, grab the old Subaru degreaser. I like it because it is 1 to 20. One bottle here can actually be diluted out to 20 bottles. That's how potent this is. Now, I don't dilute, so I tend to just kind of go right at it and bada bing, bada boom, wipe it away and be done with it, just for the sheer fact that it works a lot better. Alright, now that I've got everything all soaked and covered with the degreaser, I don't have to worry about anything because it's going to go ahead and do its job. So while it does its job, I'm going to go ahead and start dragging over the ej20x so that I can start cleaning this thing up and getting into it, take it apart. I got to get this intake manifold off and get the harness off because it's glorified useless in this country. Now, guys, let me explain something to you really quick. Now, I've been coming across this a lot lately. I thought it was common knowledge, but I'm guessing it's just not commonly taught. So I'm going to go ahead, give you guys some more information. I'm going to go ahead and walk away from that just because I need to tell you guys something. Use the USDM computer. Do not put the JDM computer in your car for the sheer reason that when you go to put the inspection sticker in this window, that OBD2 port that's underneath your dashboard, it will not have power. Yeah, that's right, I'm looking at you. Seriously. How? You must know this. I have to convey this. You will not be able to be emissions compatible without an emissions compatible computer. Japan does not have EGRs. They do not have emissions. Most of them don't even have catalytic converters. So understand that that computer is not going to help you. Yes, it will run the car. If your computer's shot, let's say your car has been through an accident, a lot of the times your computer will get popped. Popped as in fried. Airbags deploy, computer pops, you cannot move your vehicle for a safety reason. Not for the sheer fact that, oh, I should be able to get home if I'm stranded. No, it's a safety reason. If the airbags went off, you should not be able to drive your car. Sometimes, in some cases, you can do so, but 90% of the time, it doesn't work that way. So, be safe. Going back to the computer thing, the top of this engine here is going to come off. Then we're just going to go over and we're going to grab the intake manifold over here that we pulled off of the USDM ej20x, and then that will then mate on top of this engine very easily. All of the ports for the EJ class are all the same. That's the top, that's the bottom. So the exhaust manifold will bolt on. The intake manifold will bolt on. If it is an EJ class, as in EJ code, EJ20, EJ25, EJ257, so on and so forth, and don't let me forget the EJ22s or the 18s. They are all the same placement, guys. So if it is a dual overhead cam, dual port exit exhaust, you can put any dual port EJ code exhaust manifold on there and it will bolt on. Same applies to the intake manifold. Now it also depends on what your functions are, what you're trying to do with what you're bolting on that engine. So there's many different variations out there. There's long runner intake manifolds, and honestly, I don't want to get into too much discussion. I really just want to stay focused on this and just kind of convey, guys, that we do not use JDM computers in the US. Can't tune them, can't get a sticker, can't do anything with them other than drive your car as is. And you're sure as crap not going to get a Cobb access port to work on a JDM computer. So I'm just trying to help. I'm not trying to slap anybody's pee-pee. It just is what it is. Let me just help you. Alright, looks like everything's stopped bubbling and doing its job, so I'm going to go ahead and soak it one more last time, and then I'm going to jump on the engine. Alright, got it all wiped down. Everything's all clean. I'm extremely happy with it. As you can see, I probably went a little over and beyond. It's got a nice little shine to it. I've cleaned each and individual part around all the hardware, made sure the firewall's all cleaned up. Basically, over and beyond is the Rumble Garage way. But the one thing I did see, actually, I should say two things I see that are going to be a problematic issue for the owner of this car. I'm going to have to climb in the engine bay, so bear with me. Alright, so let's go ahead and switch this camera around. Alright, so I got all the grease out, got everything out, and it's all nice and shiny. I like it. I wiped down all the hoses, but in the background, you see that red stuff right there? I don't like you! I don't like you! That is rust. That's going to be a huge issue. There is no plastic plate here that was underneath the battery. The battery was just sitting here, floating on top of the actual steel itself. So I imagine there's been some kind of corrosion issue. And if not, it's probably just been a bunch of water and sand and whatnot that gets underneath the battery. And it moves back and forth, and abrasion on the paint wears down to the steel, and bada bing, bada boom, you get that crap right there. So as a freebie from me, I am going to clean that up. And I'm going to run this whole section in here with bed liner so that he can have a nice area that is waterproof. And he doesn't have to worry about it later down the road. And that's something that I'm not going to charge him to do either, you know, because even if it costs me money, I'm going to do it right. You know, stuff like this right here, this makes me cringe. So on to the second thing I said. Look at the lower mounts here, 1 and 2, for the radiator support. So they are also corroded pretty good. Now, I'm standing up, so I'll go ahead and I'll zoom in. And as you get closer, it gets worse. Yeah. There's going to need to be some kind of sandblasting in this area. So what I'm going to do is, because if we don't address this now, and I just put this all together, I mean, he's going to be happy because obviously everything will be taken care of. So with that said, obviously he's not going to pull that engine back out, and that problem is probably not going to get addressed or quickly at that matter, because car runs beautiful. Why take it apart? So when you see stuff like this, you take care of it now, because guys, we live in the now. If you don't jump on opportunities, you know, other doors won't be open for you, you know, later down the road. And this right here would basically deny any other further modification to this car, because, you know, once it runs tip top, he's going to want to do something to it. It's a turbo legacy. I mean, come on, let's get real. But that's going to falter that, because now he's going to have to pay a guy like me a whole bunch of money to clean it up, because it's rotted and it didn't get addressed in the first place. So again, I'm going to go through there and I'm going to clean it up as best as I can with the sandblaster. I can remove that condenser out of the way, and I'll pull that out. Basically just do it the right way. I'll lay the blankets all down and whatnot. The welding blankets, they really work well for the sand portions, and then I'll cover the car as best as possible, especially for the sheer fact that I just cleaned that engine bay, and it's super duper clean. And it's one of those things where I didn't see it until I wiped all of the crud and all of the oil away. And yeah, it's just something that I'm going to take care of because it hurts my heart. I'll put that in epoxy primer right on the bare metal, and then I'll be able to hit it with the bed liner. So on to a little bit more bad news. I mean, it's not bad news per se for this car. It just hurts my heart. This car, ej20x, the one that was, excuse me, in this legacy, from what I can see, has been completely gone through, and I almost feel like that's probably why it failed. It was cheaply done. Everything was all blue gaskets. Anyone who does this for a living already knows right offhand. If you see blue, crap. Probably shouldn't. Yeah, all right. I'm just gonna spill it because I probably shouldn't beat around the bush. I hate Fail Pro. Or excuse me, Fail Pro. I call them Fail Pros. I hate them. They delaminate. Now, when I mean delaminate, it's got this blue. The reason why it's blue is that what they do is they coat this gasket here, and that actually peels off and curdles off of the gasket itself in between the cylinder head and the block itself, causing cylinder lift, oil to get underneath there, antifreeze to get underneath there. It's just, it's foobar, man. It really is. It's just beyond all repair. It just is what it is, and you have to take it apart and you have to do it right. So with that said, you get oil and any kind of antifreeze underneath of that gasket, you're going to have heat distortion. With heat distortion, you have flexing of the block. With flexing of the block, you have issues. So you don't want to do that. You know, you got to look at it on a molecular stature. These things are bolted together. They're going to have tolerance on them. So every time you take a steel bolt and bolt it into an aluminum block, it is absolutely going to stretch that area of that block. Now, that's all based on the tensile strength and whatnot. I don't want to get too detailed with it and bore you, but just know that if you don't do it correctly, you're going to have issues down the road. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they took the time to get the heads machined, replace the turbo, do all these things, but then the engine completely failed and it's pooped glitter. So do it right, and yeah, you won't have issues. Treat them like they're alive. That's what I always say. They're my children. You know, bring me my children so I could take care of them. If they're sick, bring them to me. I'll send them back out. Try not to cuss. Whew, this is hard. All right, well, hey, with that said, you know, I'm going to keep on moving on, and jump on that ej20x. I'm going to drag it over here. I really need to clean up because I've got a huge mess and debacle behind me, and I hate the way it looks. So, yeah, here are the rags. You get an idea of basically how many rags it's going to take to clean up a pretty messy engine bay. And for a comparison issue, the difference, yeah, that's super bright. So yeah, it was pretty dirty. It had to be done. It's one of those things where it probably doesn't look as dirty until you actually clean it, and then you look at the rags and you go, oh, maybe it did need to be cleaned. So with that said, hopefully you guys got some helpful tips today, and I'm just gonna head. Yep, that was a mess up. I'm gonna go ahead and finish working. I'm tired. It's getting late. So with that said, I'm Bill Schneider. This is Rumble Garage. I work on only cars with stars, guys. Please subscribe. Subaru only.